Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some interesting news when it comes to some brand new PlayStation 5 updates for some of the oldie games out there. We also have the brand new update of the PlayStation 5 VR game that a lot of folks have been making comments on where we've even made a video on it before, where basically it's like a really cool, intricate like VR technology where it kind of picks up where you blink. We have some big Ubisoft leaks and a lot of random, things all throughout the video. And as everyone kind of made fun of me on Twitter, Twitch, and on my earlier YouTube video, I look like Eminem, but not the good kind. It's not good. So hello everyone and welcome to another video. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We got that Twitter, we got that Twitch stream down below, got the Target links, we got the Amazon links, and everything in between. And let's dive into the video. So in case you guys are curious, we have a bunch of little random news stories and news that's actually been kind of quiet these past few weeks. Kind of been sucking because I want to go make some good videos. But in case you guys are curious, we actually do have some brand new updates over here for a lot of the classics that will also be in regards to the classic catalog, and then also games you guys may have a chance to go and play without even have to deal with the subscription-based planning. So we're going to go and talk about that first and foremost. If you guys don't know, it's kind of a big news story where Sony Interactive Entertainment has announced that Wild Arms 2, Legends of Dragoon, and the Harvest Moon Back to Nature will be launching on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 on February 21st as part of a Classics catalog. So if you guys have not kind of known about this, if you have like PlayStation Plus and all these other PlayStation Premiums, there actually is a subscription-based side of it where you can actually go and play these older games, something like a PS1, PS2, PS3, or whatever older PSP type style games, literally built into your PlayStation itself. Now, I don't think many people have really been utilizing too much, mainly because they did want to include a lot more brand new games, and as well also want to have an ever-growing catalog as like the licenses kind of get worked on in, or maybe they even go and buy more older games to go and relicense and reuse and emulate on their consoles. But that's why this actually might be some kind of cool news, because a lot of folks are actually worried about the integration of if this old school type style games may only be soft locked to like an emulation server type thing, where basically, I don't know how to word this better, but basically like imagine that you need to have a certain technology to utilize and play it, say on your PlayStation 5, so then they would not want to go and allocate extra resources into them like making it available for anyone. I'm trying to, I really wish I had a good example, kind of think like, maybe Netflix. Like they may go have a cool Netflix show, but you can't just go buy the show by itself. You have to have the subscription. I hope that's a good metaphor. If it's not, basically just the idea is that if you have PlayStation Plus, they're putting the extra time to emulate it, transfer it to your PlayStation 5 or host the files for you or translate the files, whatever it may be. But if you're not a part of the PlayStation Plus, you may have not had a chance to go play the game or not have a chance to sell the game, maybe from licensing issues, maybe from just sale issues, or maybe they just don't have someone on the Sony team to go and do it. Hopefully that one makes more sense than my weird Netflix metaphor. So we actually have some really cool news when it comes to this one on the classic game catalog, where if you guys remember this one, this came out like when the PlayStation Plus just started relaunching, where we actually may not even have to have a PlayStation Plus subscription to now go and play these games, which a lot of folks were worried about, that it may have only been a soft lock in regards to the PlayStation Plus subscribers, and because it's also locked behind a higher tier, also very, very expensive. So I gotta give like PlayStation a thumbs up so far, because it does seem like they actually are integrating newer technology or making sure that you can still emulate and pick up the games. Like there has been a lot of controversy on this, there's been a lot of worry, and especially because there's a lot of games out there that are, number one, not available for purchase. Maybe a really good example as well as Nintendo, where Nintendo has a huge, massive Game Boy catalog. Think games like Pokemon Yellow, Red, Blue, that for some odd reason they're never selling on the Switch. No one knows why. The emulation would be kind of easy. They'd probably make a lot of money. And it's kind of what a lot of folks are worried about for PlayStation, where if they're like, hey, we have all these really cool games, or say a good example is the PlayStation 3, where they did have a separate architecture that makes it harder to go and emulate the games or make the games. So you essentially have to have like a separate team allocated towards making these games emulatable and playable. And that's what a lot of folks I think have been kind of worried about. I think kind of rightfully so, because we just don't necessarily know what Sony wants to do with that. So basically with this one, if you guys have already owned the digital version for an older PS platform, you may be able to have access to these new versions for free. However, though, it is technically case by case, as we've mentioned with this one. And that's what kind of makes it a little bit sad too, because it does seem like they are trying to make it work and happen, but I think the bigger struggle is that we don't know exactly how, where, what, and why. Saying also, players who have previously purchased the digital version of select games from the original PlayStation and PSP generation will not have to make a separate purchase or sign up to PlayStation Plus to play these titles in the PS4 or PS5. When these titles are released for PS4 and PS5, players can head to the PlayStation Store and download a version for the console at no extra cost if they already own the digital version of the title. Some of the titles will also be available for individual purchase. So I want to say, like, this kind of a hard premise to explain to folks, but I think this is cool. I think that's that Sony is doing a really cool thing for folks who already have bought the game, because you should be able to go and buy and have like the longevity of a digital copy or store copy of a game you may have bought. And it kind of makes me sad that some game companies are not fully into it, and that's why we're also into the part 2, where they go and say some of these titles will also be available for individual purchase. Now, it's cool that some of these titles are available for individual purchase, but that once again leads in the big controversy and issue, where some folks like to play retro games. They like to be a part of these retro games. And, well, sadly, they just might not be able to go get sold. So it is at least kind of nice that there is going to be extra options available. It's also kind of nice that if you bought the original games, which rightfully so, you should have access to the games themselves, and you'll be able to go and play and utilize those games on your console too. So there's like a few little kind of nifty things. I'm kind of liking the idea of this one, and Sony, I think, is kind of doing a cool thing that they at least are expanding out the PlayStation Premium and Deluxe plans, offering more games, making more oldies available, and as well maybe making them individually available for purchase. So a little bit of a hard situation / story to explain. Hopefully you guys got the vibe, but I do think at the end of the day, Sony is doing something kind of nice. Now, if you guys have also missed it too as well, we've also been seeing this really big news when it comes to this PlayStation VR game. Now, we've covered this news before on my channel, where we have the new PlayStation 5 VR game that's been making things scarier if you blink. Now, this has been a very intriguing new technology because, well, we haven't really seen too much VR gaming when it comes to at least consoles, and while this is one of the bigger ones too, where Supermassive's game, the Dark Pictures Anthology spinoff, is, well, a little bit spoopy if you guys go and blink over here. And we've been seeing a lot more in the VR news and VR attention, mainly because it is coming out, and review copies have gone out too as well. So basically, new gameplay walkthrough trailers reveal grim roller coaster rides into a series of nightmares with gruesome eye-tracking technology that pulls enemies to you every single time you go and blink, and I think a lot of folks have just been thinking this technology is really cool. We've covered it on the channel before. So, as the game director Alejandro Arcu Gallardo explains the walkthrough, that Switchback VR puts the players in the ground after a train crash, barely alive, and in the state, they get tucked into a terrifying vision of the demoness trying to finish the job and yank him. So from this beginning of the game, it's basically just really cool, because if you're seeing, you're blinking, they know what you're looking at, and I really think this is one of the cooler aspects of VR, where if you go and blink, the VR technology can go and see you literally blinking, and it lets you go and either adjust the game, or adjust the characters, or basically have like a really quick micro jump, or maybe affect things as you're playing through the game itself. So I think this is really cool, because we've been seeing this also taking place in other types of VR games as well, and well, like I said, if you do not duck things in time, you'll feel it on your head. If a hand is passing through you, you'll feel that hand on your head. It's all about getting that feeling that you're there. This is you. There is no one else. So I'd be a little bit afraid of playing these types of games, but it does seem like the PlayStation VR keeps on getting better and better and better and more in depth when it comes to technology and everything else in between. Now, for a little bit of news as well when it comes to, let's say, the Ubisoft. So if you guys don't know, Ubisoft had quite a few big leaks. Number one, confirming that if E3 is going to happen, they will be going really hardcore into the Ubisoft presentation. We have kind of confirmed that PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo are not going to be over here on their presentation itself, but it does seem like E3 is trying to step up. They've kind of realized that they've lost a lot of favor in the gaming community, they've lost a lot of money, and they want to make some really good games because they had to cancel like 5 other very big games. So Ubisoft is one of the bigger game studios and platforms out there, so it's nice to see that they are trying their best to go and push and make more things go and happen. So big thumbs up for them. Although we had a massive leak when it came to Ubisoft a while ago, where they have brand new Assassin's Creed Chronicles, they have a bunch of remakes, they have all the Far Cry games and stuff coming to Game Pass, they have brand new Far Cry, I think 7, being leaked out of here too as well, but also a lot of other big games also being canceled. And on top of that too, we do know we have a brand new Avatar game coming and a lot of other various games too on the way. So it kind of seems like basically Ubisoft has to go and step up, and they can't go and ride on the coattails of all their other successful games because they just, well, need it. Now as well, last but not least, if you're a PlayStation user, you get a bunch of freebies over here, or if you guys want to celebrate the game's anniversary for Horizon Forbidden West, Guerrilla Games and Sony have released a set of new Horizon Forbidden West themed avatars for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 users to go and download. So in case you guys want to, sadly it's still not a PlayStation theme, which I want to cry because I don't have a PlayStation theme myself, but at least they are trying to offer something kind of cool, and they've done some kind of cool stuff with the other games and the VR and everything else too, where I think it does kind of round up to, well, not bad at the end of the day. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. I appreciate you guys all so much for spending your time with me. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below. We have the Amazon links and Target links too as well down below. And I hope you guys all have a good rest of your days. We'll probably have another 1 or 2 videos up, so be on the lookout for that. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching in the first place.